Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the episode number 9 of season 2 of Joe and Ro Toastmasters. Today, our subject is organizing large events, and specifically, we're going to talk about eloquence. Due to some technical reasons, my co host Joanne is not available today. She'll join when she can as the technical issue resolves itself. But not to fear, I'll try to do my best. And I hope I live up to her expectations in conducting this entire podcast. But I have three very good friends of mine to help me with this podcast. And let me introduce them one by one. I'll start with Nishant. DTM Nishant Mehta. He's one of my oldest friends in Toastmasters and also my co-conspirator in Eloquence 2017. So he was the convener of Eloquence 2017. I was the co-convener, and we had successfully conducted that event in 2017. So he's here. He's a distinguished Toastmaster. He's a chartered accountant by training, by profession, and a very dedicated and very humble Toastmaster who has been part of a lot of activities in the district for many, many years, and I think known to almost everybody in the district. I can't say more than that because of certain issues, but welcome, Nishant. Great to have you here.
Pleasure.
And we've also invited two of the conveners for the current Eloquence 2024, two of the most dynamic young Toastmasters I have the privilege to work with and know as friends. Let me just quickly go through their bio. Let's start with Toastmaster Libby Abraham. Libby is an HR professional. She has been Toastmaster for 2.5 years and has served as the VP membership for her home club Agnel Toastmasters and is currently serving as the VP education for the club. Her passions include reading, exploring travel opportunities that fit her budget and schedule, and cherishing a large circle of friends, and which I am privileged to be part of. She also likes to binge on Netflix, which is one of her guilty pleasures. So, Libby, welcome to our podcast. Great to have you here. You've
Thank
also
you.
been one of our biggest supporters of our podcast. So, thank you very much for all the support over the month and a years before going ahead. Last but definitely not least is Toastmaster DTM Akshay Singh. Akshay is the co-convener of Eloquence 24. He is a data engineer by profession and has over 5 years of Toastmaster membership experience. He has held various club office roles, mentored clubs and sponsored clubs, has been part of corporate, community, online clubs. He is a charter member currently of two clubs, All Elite Advanced Toastmasters and Goregaon Speakers Community Toastmasters, where he's serving as the VP Education. So not only do we have two conveners, we have two VP Educations as well. VP Education also. So quite a lot of knowledge in this room right now. Akshay's achievements at Toastmaster include being recognized as Toastmaster of the Year. Kudos. Distinguished Area Director, President, Distinguished Division Director, and of course, he's a DTM as well. He's an enthusiastic volunteer for educational, environment, and empowering initiatives. In his free time, Akshay enjoys writing poetry, cycling, solving Rubik's Cubes, and collaborating with Toastmasters worldwide. So, wow, we have absolutely three amazing power packed Toastmasters. Very welcome to Joe and Ro podcast today. And usually, what Joanne usually after completing, she says some ground rules. So the visitors, the people who audience, I would request you to keep your videos and your audio on mute while the podcast is going on. We will after the podcast, we'll have a certain time for us to mingle and discuss and talk. So after the podcast goes, recording gets over, you can join us and discuss with us. We can have a mixer. Okay, so the first question I will put to Nishant, and let's just get a quick bio of the how the three guests have come into Toastmasters. So Nishant, quickly tell me, how did you join Toastmasters? When did you join Toastmasters? Why did you
So
join
I
Toastmasters?
I joined in 2015 because of my close friend Brilliant SK, who was a part of my road track year. And I used to follow him on the Facebook, and I always have a curiosity what is Toastmasters all about. And I used to always call him every year around May and June, and to always tell him that I want to join it. But this went on and on for 3 years, and finally he said, "देखो join करना है तो पक्का कर, नहीं तो छोड़ दे." So then finally I took the plunge and I joined Toastmaster, and there's no looking back. and I'm happy to be part of the Toastmasters.
So when did you join? Which year did you join?
2015 May.
2015. Okay,
Yeah.
very nice, very nice. Libby, what about you? How did you join? Why did you join? Tell us a little about your backstory.
I would have joined somewhere around 2020. That was during the COVID time when we were all sitting at home with nothing much to do. And I had a friend, had no, have a friend, Toastmaster Sony. He was part of Agnel Toastmasters Club. And I had seen the change in him. He used to be this very shy, reserved kind of a person. And somehow I thought it was an overnight change, though it wasn't really overnight. He became this confident, eloquent speaker, and the shy persona that he used to carry around was no longer there. So I checked with him, what was new with him, what happened, and he mentioned Toastmasters. And it had been part of me that I want to check out Toastmasters. I wanted to join. I did attend a meeting, but it took me a while. I think about a year and a half after I attended my first meeting is when the COVID happened and I had nothing else to do, is when I joined Toastmasters. And after joining, I really regret that I didn't join much sooner. I wish I had joined much. The kind of benefits that I uh, got after joining Toastmasters is it's innumerable. I mean, it's extremely difficult to count and tell you, these are ABC.
So big shout out to Sony and a big thank you for giving us Libby from the district. We want to say thank you to Sony Varghese for introducing Libby to our group. And last but not least, Akshay, tell us how did you join? When did you join? Why did you join? What is your backstory in Toastmasters?
So thanks, Ron. And once again, happy evening to all. I remember I was part of TCS back in Trivandrum. It was a completely different place and members spoke different language. I used to sit beside one of the HRs, and she was the only person who could converse with me in English and Hindi. And she used to get every month one magazine, which was the Toastmasters magazine. And I used to read those magazines, and somehow they became every month I used to be eagerly waiting for the next copy because that used to have a lot of interesting information and interesting ideas. And that magazine was the first, you can say, encounter with Toastmasters. After that, I decided to spend my time over there in Trivandrum, engaged in volunteering activities. While I was volunteering, there were a lot of volunteers who were not aware of what we used to do. So I used to communicate with them what we exactly do. So this particular my fellow deskmate who was also the HR, she suggested you should definitely join Toastmasters because it will help you get a platform where you can share about your volunteering journey and experience and inspire more people to join in. So that was the intent or the push which she gave. And I decided to attend a couple of Toastmasters meeting in Trivandrum. And members mentioned that Akshay and TCS, we don't have a club over here, but you should definitely, when you visit Mumbai, you should immediately join TCS Metri Toastmasters Club in Mumbai because that's one of the most active. So after 2.5 years, I decided to move back to my city. And just within the week when I moved, that was the week when I decided to attend a meeting as a guest. And I heard a couple of speakers over there like Kanagi, Pramod, and the way they presented themselves just clicked, and I was the member next week itself. So that's how I came to Toastmasters.
And that was in
So
which
it took
year?
almost, so it was in the year 2018. So almost from
2018.
2016 to 2018 end, 2 years it took from the first encounter after reading the Toastmasters magazine to becoming a member.
So you have been an Uber volunteer from the beginning. So when you joined Toastmasters, did you suddenly realize that everything in Toastmasters is voluntary only? How did you find
Yes,
that? So you
that
don't
was
have to convince people to
interesting.
be volunteers in Toastmasters, I guess.
Yeah, so Toastmasters had a different kind of volunteers, wherein I used to volunteer in education initiatives, then environment initiatives. Over there, we used to always have only college students come as volunteers. And that too, sometimes it was due to the credits which we used to get. So Toastmasters gave me that platform wherein I could speak to more people, do more. I was able to network with all the volunteers in the country and get them to be available for various initiatives across the city. So the Toastmasters definitely helped to collaborate on other initiatives or other aspects. But yes, as you said, all members in Toastmaster volunteer for some or other aspect.
I think volunteering is one of the biggest and the most important parts of the Toastmaster journey. In fact, all of us have volunteered for so many different roles and things. So, speaking of volunteering, let's start with events, large events, and let's start with Eloquence. So, let me start with you, Akshay, and we'll again go in reverse order. When it comes to events at Toastmasters, we can start with say the club meeting at the very base level of organizing something, and I would say Eloquence right at the top as a mega event of the year that happens in this. So, according to you, what is the importance of these events in the Toastmaster calendar, and why is it important for people to volunteer for this kind of event?
All right. So these events are basically important because it gives you a point wherein every person or every different member part of different clubs comes together. So a lot of exchange of experiences, I would say, a lot of exchange of ideas happens at such events. And it helps you connect with people around across. So I remember my first eloquence which I had attended, it was September 2018 I had joined, and it was in the May 2019. Back then I was just a member, not even given my speech, first icebreaker. And I was super excited about the conference because I was seeing so many engagements happening. Because of that conference, I was able to interact with a lot of other members whom I would have never interacted. Because what happens when you are in a club, you interact with your club members. And if you get a chance to be part of, say, area conference or division conference, you may interact with few more. But usually it's very limited. Not many members come forward to these conferences, so they don't get this experience. Conference or the annual conference, which is Eloquence, becomes one such point wherein everyone can come together and they can experience that grand stage, network with people, collaborate on ideas, find people with similar thought process, similar ideas, and collaborate with them to do more. So that is what conference is all about, and that's what I believe conference people should attend to. Now, regarding the second part which you asked about volunteering, I believe in club you can volunteer in meeting role capacity or as a club officer. But if you want to experiment more, for example, a conference has a lot of different roles. For example, I started with being a F&B volunteer, which is food and beverages. And I realized that I thought it was a simple role, but it was quite tedious role. You had to continuously ensure that the food counter is filled as the queue management. The first time I got to use a walkie-talkie, so that was a very different experience. Why it was necessary? I thought since everyone is a Toastmaster and it's hardly 600, 900 people in a room, it would be easier to manage. But
Yes.
then the scale of that event as well as that opportunity helped me understand how to coordinate with people, how to manage people, how to manage the queues. So it was a different experience. So this experience I would have never got at club because in a club you have hardly 30, 20 people attending a meeting. But this event gives you that scale, so you learn how to manage people. Apart from this, there are different committees are there like logistics, hospitality, PR. If you really want to experiment, as we say, right, Toastmasters is a platform to experiment. If you truly desire to experiment beyond your comfort zone, then you should definitely go outside club. And the best place is conference because that exposure is like as you said, right, from club meeting directly to the top because that's the largest event one can experience in Toastmasters.
Using walkie-talkies are fun, right, in the conference?
Yes, it's a fun.
I
That
remember
was the last.
during the first conference in oration, I like you was volunteer and I was given a walkie-talkie and we used to talk such nonsense all over the network. That was fun. So I think thanks for that. That's brilliant what you're saying about networking, about experimenting, learning new things as you become part of the larger group who's organizing the events. Very good. Libby, you joined. You had the first Eloquence experience in person last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So same question to you. Why do you think these conferences are important? And I'll ask a different question for you. What stands out from you from last year's conference for you? As a person who attended, I think you also did a MOC role as well, right?
Yeah. So I will put that why should somebody attend a conference? I take it in two aspects, one as part of the team and one as just an audience member. When you're going for a conference of this magnitude, you are going to meet so many new people. Like Akshay said, you're going to meet so many people that you have probably just spoken to over the phone or you've seen them across a Zoom, screen. And meeting them in person, when you see people over the Zoom screen, you have a certain image of them. And when you go and meet them in person, the kind of interaction that happens, sometimes, you change how you're thinking about a person. You change yourself in the sense that you are trying to think, how do I say this, your perspective changes when you are meeting so many new people. You have been thinking in a certain manner, but when you go and meet a person, your perspective itself changes. That is one. Another aspect of attending as a attendee is, uh, when you are attending a conference, there are certain, what do you say, guidelines, where certain rules, things that you have to follow. How does a big conference take place? How to maintain the discipline? When we are in a club, we have a certain environment. We are in a certain, uh, what do you say, uh, comfort zone. You are with your friends, but when you're going in a conference, the comfort zone changes. How do you interact with people? How do you go up to a stranger and say hello? How do you go and introduce yourself? For me, I found all that very difficult. If I had to, previously, when I used to go for conferences, I'm not even talking about Toastmasters, it used to be very difficult for me to go and introduce myself and, kind of become part of a new group. But attending conferences in Toastmasters helped me do that in a better manner. Now, as being part of a team, like you mentioned, I was the MOC. It was one of the most fabulous experiences of my life. I was, if I have to be very honest, I was shit scared of being the MOC. My time started at 9 a.m. on 26th May. If somebody had come and told me at 8:59 a.m., Libby, you don't have to be the MOC, you can quit, I would have happily handed over my script and ran away from there. That's how scared I was. But once I went up on stage, and we had started the session with by singing a song, and I got that audience reaction to my song, then there was no stopping back. Then you would have actually had to pull me out of the stage. uh, I completely and thoroughly enjoyed that experience. It kind of brought me out of my comfort zone. The fear that was there, that was no longer there. So the spirit of it, when you see how people are reacting to you, those are the kind of things which is very difficult to put in words. But I wish I was as eloquent as Akshay was. But the feeling that I got is mind blowing, and I mean, I would do it again.
Yeah, I remember that. It was absolutely fabulous what you did on stage. And I know we gave you a hard time afterwards and we had a lot of fun with you, but you did an absolutely fabulous job. But it's quite a big leap from going from an MOC straight to the convener of Eloquence. So kudos to you. Nishant Bhai, my dear Nishant Bhai, thanks for waiting for so long for your turn. But
No worry.
last but definitely not least on in this question round, and you and I, we did Eloquence in 2017, that is pre-COVID, and we did a very big Eloquence at that time in right in the middle of Mumbai, right?
Correct.
So just tell me about, see, because you first became the convener and then I became the co-convener much later, so I don't even remember why you became a convener. How did you become a convener? And of course your ideas on what is important having these kind of conferences, taking part in these conferences.
So my journey started with a convener as no one else was ready to take that role at all. And
Yes, I
I thought,
remember
let's
that.
do
Yes.
it. I remember no one else was ready to take that job. And I was being told that Ron will be your co-convener. And I was saying, who is Ron? Because before that, I honestly never knew who was Ron. And I believe the people who actually made me the convener that Ron will be someone I can work with, a chilled out person, and I was happy to be part of the team with Ron. And we did wonders. I remember we had a lot of overseas guests coming in from abroad, the Nashik Dhol and everything. So when we started, if you remember, we were like three people technically working on the entire event. And as the event was growing closer to the booking the venue, getting the food, the catering, sponsors, and everything, there were a lot of effort involved, and there were a lot of things where we need to work as a team, and we had a team for each and every avenue, like Akshay was saying, food and beverages, PR, finance. Obviously I was taking care of the finance and sponsorship. That's my forte, so we were taking care of that. But the best part of any event is on the day when we wanted our team to be there, everyone was there, and we were successful, have a 99 people strong team. And we were wondering, suddenly everyone is activated and work. And trust me, that 3 days we had everyone on the toes, everyone working from morning till night, making next day's event successful, the MOCs and everything, changing the time slot of the speaker. If you remember the last day, we had a lot of swap in the
Yeah.
speaker slot and everything. And everything was taken kind of seamlessly. None of the audience actually understood what exactly went behind the scene. When you see it, it's a free, like when you do a movie. So I'm being from a Bollywood fan and a Bollywood auditor. And I always remember when you see the movie on 3 hours, it seems simple. But what goes behind that, as an auditor, I've seen the hard work involved. It takes 3 months or 3 years to make a movie. And similarly, we took around 6 months, Ron, if we're not wrong,
Yes,
more
we
than six
started
months to
in
make
July.
something
July.
successful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we started in
Right.
July and then we had the
October,
Eloquence in
we got the
April.
venue.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, I
So it's,
remember.
it's a different ball game, and trust me, I love the job. I made a lot of friends, and the way it was reacted, uh, accepted by everyone, it was amazing. And I always remember when your first day is successful, automatically things works in your favor. And I remember DD that time, Chandrasekhar
Oh my
DP,
God. Yes. Chandra.
he told me one
Oh,
thing
how much
after
we fought
the
with him.
correct. So the first thing he told me after that Nashik told, remember the first day when we did that? He said, now you're even successful. Now you don't need to worry about anything. And that was the cue card that yes, we can do it. And I was very happy with Ron, obviously the partner in crime, and we did a successful thing. That's
Yeah.
all about.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember, Nishant, you don't know this story, but we were at GM, right? GM, we used to have those meetings in GM, and we were like 15 of us sitting in a circle discussing eloquence, and we were all wondering who will be the convener. So so they were saying, okay, you be the convener. Mohammed, you be the Babra Wala was there. You be the convener.
Barbara
You be the.
was
We were all pointing at each other. Be the convener. Then Brilliant says, "Arey, I know this guy called Nishant, my friend. He wants to be the convener." And we all started looking at each other like, who's this guy that wants to be the convener and nobody else wants to take up this kind of responsibility? Yeah? And like we said, okay, this guy wants it, give it to him happily. But then Brilliant told me that you will have to take up co-convener because he will need support. And of course, we are all there. And I would say the event was successful because of everybody's contribution. We had a fabulous, fabulous team, absolutely fabulous team, and we had a lot of fun also along the way. Yeah, so
yeah,
really good. So definitely the memories of a lifetime in that one event. So
I
let's get
agree.
back to our current pair of this thing. So Libby, let's go to you first. How do you feel now that how many months now since you started? I think 2-3 months since you started as convener.
Yeah,
How do you feel? What is going on with you as a
uh,
convener? And
I
I
think
know I know that you got a lot of challenges and you've overcome a lot of things. But just give us your perspective on becoming a convener.
so. For me, because you mentioned earlier, jump from MOC to the convener of Eloquence. I was just thinking, like when you were speaking to Nishant, about when I actually did my first event in Toastmasters. First one that I did was I the 275th meeting for Agnel, and I was a co-convener at that. That is the first event of any kind that I had done in Toastmasters. And when I was part of that club, the excom over there gave me so much of freedom to do what I wanted to do, and it kind of built my confidence. Post that, I went on to become the contest chair, and in a club, when you become the contest chair, you're doing everything. You are de facto convener, contest chair, everything. So you do that role, you gain confidence there. My area directors liked what I did at that conference, so then they pushed me to take the become the area convener for the area conference. So that was another added confidence that I got. So when I was approached for Eloquence, I didn't have to think much about it. I, in the sense, will I be able to do it? I was fairly confident. I spoke to you and my mentors to check if I should actually pick it up, and I felt confident enough that I could handle the role. And yes, with all the difficulties and the challenges that come along with being a convener, I still feel pretty confident of having eloquence that people will talk about in years to come.
Absolutely,
I-
absolutely.
and
That's going
in
to happen.
and in terms of experience, I mean, when I am interacting with people or when I'm talking to people, when I need help, what I've seen is we have a community of people always willing to help. You just have to ask, and you will get help. You don't have to worry about anything. You just go, you ask, you will get what you need. So when you have a supportive community like that, it automatically builds on your confidence, and it automatically promises to be a good event. And then when you're working with co-conveners like Akshay, who's had so much of experience being a co-convener, I get to learn so much from Akshay. And when you have two people who work so much in tandem and our chemistry matches with what I do and what he do, we don't end up bickering too much about things. So again, it becomes a pleasant experience to work. You look forward to working for an event. So that has been my experience so far.
So, Akshay, has it been a pleasant experience so far?
You better say yes, Akshay.
So tell us your perspective. I
So,
mean, and I also want to ask you one question because you've been in Toastmasters longer than Libby and you've accomplished quite a lot in all these years in the Toastmasters. What personally, I mean, we all want Eloquence to be a grand success. That's everybody's wish and each and every member wishes that. But what do you want personally for yourself from this entire experience? At the end of, say, on 27th of May, what do you feel that you've got out of the entire experience?
all right. So, I have attended two of the offline conferences, which was 2019 and 2020. They have taken the role of co-convener for 2024 Eloquence. Like doing events is the one thing for which I have remained a Toastmaster. Like it started with sharing about my volunteering journey, but over the years, as I explored opportunities and other possibilities to collaborate, being part of Toastmasters is a reason. If one reason comes to my mind is the events. You can collaborate to do things. Like I've been part of multiple online events. When pandemic hit, that time we wanted to do something new. So I was back there at TCS. So we decided to connect all the TCS clubs and did a global TCS meeting to get everyone interact with each other to you can say nurture collaboration because TCSs themselves were not aware that there are so many clubs. Almost 33 clubs in India were there. So we connected all of them and we did two editions of global event. In the first one, I was an event chair. After that, I became an event mentor, and it continued. We wanted to do the third edition, but by then, everything went back again offline. Apart from this, I have also been part of doing events on a larger scale. We did two editions of hashtag 24, which was a unique event, complete 24 hours of continuous Toastmasters.
Wow,
Someone will
that
think it's
sounds
an
really
overdose.
interesting. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, but that was fun. But those things were all online. In 2021, I was the event chair for Eloquence, which was again online. And the theme was redefining experience, wherein we got a different platform. We tried to gamify the experience. We did a lot of chatbots, game bots. So all technologically skills which I had learned, I tried to implement over there, and it was a fun. We had a lot of responses, a lot of engagement. Now this year, it is something which is offline. So I always wanted to do some event which is offline at such a large scale because this will definitely help me learn a lot of aspects. Because in an offline conference, you have almost all the different committees. Because in an online, certain committees really do not need. Major part gets balanced by the tech, which is by default my forte, so it becomes easy. This time it is a challenge for me because this is going to be offline, wherein a lot of the skills I'll be learning on the go as discussing with Libby, discussing with the team, and as we discuss with past conveners, understand how they have done it, discussing with other district conveners to know what challenges they have faced. So this is a complete roller coaster learning journey for me. Now, at the end of the conference on 27 May, what I expect is just two things. First, I should be happy, team should be happy, Libby should be happy, all of the chairs should be happy that yes, we have accomplished something. Second point which I want is members should be excited for the next year's conference. They should look forward to know when the next conference is happening. They should reach out to their district leaders, ensure that they keep telling them when is the next conference, let us know so that we can block our calendars. That kind of excitement, if we are even able to generate within 20 to 30% of attendees, I will be happy. Because that's one thing which, because when I attended 2019 conference, I was super excited. I was waiting when the next one will happen. And it was scheduled to be in Mumbai. And I believe I was in the very first day itself when the registration was announced. I had registered along with our dear friend Santosh Akela. So we all both had registered. I believe we might be the first top 10 people or the first 10 people who had registered for the conference. But then it went into online mode. We still took part in the online conference, but that was a different experience. And then finally, 2021, it was a different platform, which still tried to give a hybrid feel as the how the virtual conference will look like, how the usual offline conference would look like. That feel was given. Now we have again come back to the offline conferences. So I want members to be excited next year that yes, as soon as the early bird is out, we have to register. We have already planned for it and we have booked our dates. So that is the second thing which I want. One thing, want the team to be happy. Everyone should feel that they have accomplished what they have set out. Definitely, all of us, we all aim for 150 and then we achieve 120 or 130. So definitely certain things will not be able to achieve, but the experience itself, the learning will be immense. And I want members, team members to be happy as well as the conference attendees. And second thing is that at least 30% of attendees should be excited for the next year conference. That's what is I hope for.
That's amazing, and that's very noble of you, because if it would have me, I would have like wanted just 1 week of complete sleep, you know. Libby, what do you Libby, what do you want on 27th May? What is your expectations on 27th May?
I will go with what you're saying. On 27th May, I want to be, want to be able to say it's done. And I don't want to look back and say, oh, maybe I should have done it this way, or maybe this should have happened. I know there will be some regrets here and there, but like Akshay said, on the whole, I would want to finish with the feeling that we've accomplished something. The trust that was put in us by the district leadership, we've been able to accomplish that. That is very important for me. The fact that I was asked to be the convener itself is a matter of pride for me. So at the end of it, when I hand it over to the next convener, or when I'm done with it, I would like to very personal, this is for me, to ensure that a good job has been done. And the members who I've been claiming that we're going to have a fantastic meeting. So I hope the members feel the same way on 27th. Yes, that's what
I'm 100% sure that will be the case. And with people like you pushing and working hard and the fantastic team that we have, I'm sure it'll be a fantastic event. Nishant bhai, we've been through the Eloquence. We've experienced our own 27th May. Just think back. What was the thing that challenged you the most during that entire experience?
Sponsorships. The first thing was sponsorship and getting members registration. But I remember when we opened up in Goa, we had a good decent number of registration on the first time early bird, and we were with that hat,
The
topi,
white
dabba,
shirt and the hat. Yeah, right.
right, dabba walas. Sponsorship was something which is needed, much needed, because it's not about money. It is about branding Toastmaster to other clubs or other corporates where they don't have a Toastmaster. And that was something we really wanted to do, and we successfully did with Godrej coming in, Oyo Room coming in as a sponsors, and we
We had
did a good.
Reliance also, right? Eventually.
No, we didn't have Reliance, but Godrej was the biggest sponsor, and Oyo Room was there. And we had a little bit collaboration from Young Indians also helping us out with a little bit on the marketing side. A couple of guests came and a couple of speakers were there from there. So the collaboration from Rotary, Young Indians, and everything helped us to sail through the budget, and we will end up into a profit and not into a loss. That was something which is something very important, because as an Eloquence, there were a lot of constraint on the budget. What we do on in 2017, the scale was different than what we did. If you remember last year, in Hyderabad, the high
Let's
tech
not
was
go
a
there.
huge one. No, I'm saying the scale of the event was larger. So the scale what we did in Bandra And what
Yes.
scale we did in Hyderabad was different level.
Different level. Yes.
So as
Absolutely.
in year you go and go to the next year, always the scale of the budget goes increase. And that's what you need to take care that you need to have a budget into place, you need to have a sponsors into place, you need to control all the expenses. And I'm sure with Ron as the PR, we had a wonderful job. So we don't need to pay him. So we help out, we help us out to save the cost. And I still have that magazine. If you remember, we had a small magazine
Yeah, that was
done.
a
That was an
fantastic magazine.
amazing
Yes.
effort done by Ron. So
Yeah.
I love that. So that is the collaboration events of the members who are expert in their own field, and it helps us out to sail through the budget. For me, the sponsorship and handling the event on the 3 days were very important. And luckily, all the team members were present to make it a success, and that helped us to build it.
Okay. Just to take a small break to tell people that if everybody is wondering where is Joanne, she's had a technical issue at her end and is not able to join. So you will have to make do with poor old me for now. So please excuse and accept and whatever adjust accordingly. I hope I'll be able to do justice to her role as well. And I hope she'll be able to join sometime soon again. Nishant, what is your advice to our two young conveners for this year from
Planning is
your
very
experience?
important. So my advice for Akshay and Libby, get everything in place. Get your team into place. If you think that the person is going to back out at the last minute, have a backup plan ready. Keep your budget into place, sponsorships. And registration, obviously, you guys are doing amazing work in registration. We keep the count from our district director on the group. So definitely we keep a count on what's the registration going on. Your guys are doing amazing in the registration, but keep a check on each and every step and make sure your chair are united, because that is something very, very important. Because if your chair are united, you don't need to work. Then you need less need to focus on the larger picture, on the education, the handling of the event, your vendors who are going to come there and do the job. Make sure it's fun. You need to have that fun element definitely needed, and that adds the spice to the entire eloquence, which is very important to do. And obviously rest, I'm sure you guys, you have Akshay at your hand, who's competent enough to handle many things. And obviously I've seen you working, Libby, I'm sure. And you have Ron also there. Ron is part of your team, I guess. So
Yeah,
you
so
don't need
that's
anything.
not exactly a plus for them, but
That's a very plus point. Trust me, when Ron was my co-chair, I was amazed with the because we divided the role between us. He was handling the PR work, I was handling the finance and sponsorship. So we don't have a conflict of interest. And the best part is if you have a sync with your co-chair, you're even successful from day one. Trust me on that. And that was the success of Eloquent 2017 was me and Ron never fought. Entire 9 months we never fought because there was no conflict of roles. So that is something you need to take care. And trust me, you need to be united with your co-chair. Otherwise, the event goes on a toss. Trust me, Dhruva.
no, but what I can see, the chemistry between Libby and Akshay is excellent. They work so
Amazing.
well
Yeah.
together, and both are humble and brilliant
Perfect.
Toastmasters. And of course, their team also is wonderful people around them. So, Libby, that speaking of teams, by the way, if you guys have any questions for any of the three guests, please put them in the chat. I will try to see them and ask them the questions and get your answer. If you have anything related to Eloquence 2024, consider this like an open house and please ask Libby and Akshay if you have any doubts, any questions. We can answer that as well. So, Libby, coming to you about team. Tell me a little bit about team. Now you've assembled your team and you're working towards Eloquence. What are the insights you've got regarding handling teams for large events? What is the most thing that surprised you? What was the thing that was different about handling? Because you've done these now different events at different levels, but now you're handling really large team. So what has your experience been in terms of teams and people and handling issues and stuff like that?
Fortunately, touch wood, I haven't faced any team related issue as such, because everybody that is part of the team have been so cooperative, so helpful. I'll call them for a meeting and they're ready, and I'll call them for to attend a TLTP. I'll call them to go present eloquence somewhere. Somebody or the other has always volunteered to come up and go and attend the meeting. Or if there is a doubt, if there is something which needs to be cleared, we need to have a late night meeting. People are available, people are present. So this is, I don't know, it's a quality of us as members of Toastmasters. I don't know where this comes from, this nature to help each other, to be there once you have taken up a responsibility, to ensure that you complete that particular responsibility. People are always welcome. And in terms of my learning, what I have realized is I learn much. I mean, yeah, though I'm the convener and I have a team, I've realized I learn a lot more from my team than I am able to teach them. The others who work with me, my program chair, my registration chair, my entertainment chair, there is so much to learn from them. I would probably go in with, I have this idea, I want to do ABC, but they will come up with D, E, F, and G. So it becomes very easy to figure out what we want from the 6 options that we have. So working in collaboration and communication, I think these are the 2 things that I have learned from this 1.5 months of being in Eloquence chair. And another thing that I've learned is handling the pressure, because every 5 days I'll be like, oh no, Eloquence is such a big event. Will I do it? Will I be able to do it? And then you will come and say, no, no, Libby, it'll be fine. I'll be like, oh, nobody's registering. And then you'll be like, no, no, people will register. So there are people in the team who will calm me down. I don't know if I'm leading the team, or it's mostly a very joint effort. And I strongly believe that if you have given a person a responsibility, you've made a PR chair, or you leave the responsibility to them. I do not believe in micromanaging. I had this habit of getting into everything. I am slowly realizing that I don't really need to get into everything. Look, just having bird's eye view is enough.
That's a fantastic insight, because I think even for us, I don't know about you guys, but I am a little bit of a control freak, and I like to keep everything in under this and this. So I think for me also, any large event is a very good opportunity to give up on your micromanaging and trust the people in your team to do their job. So that's a quite a interesting insight, Libby. Akshay, there's an issue with your video, but are you audio is there? Can you
Yes,
speak?
yes, I'm there, Ron.
So Libby came up with a very interesting question about a point about pressure and stress. Hello.
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, so Libby was mentioning the stress and the pressure. How do you deal with the stress and pressure of such a mega event with so much responsibilities on your shoulder? How do you feel it? How do you deal with it? What is your advice for people? Even if somebody is doing an area event or a division event and really feeling under pressure, what would be your advice for these people?
Sure. So definitely, when we are doing such a big event, as Libby mentioned, right, there are a lot of things which keeps going in my mind, our minds. As conveners, maybe as a program chair might be thinking about the program, finance chair might be thinking about the finance. So there are a lot of things which keeps going in my mind. What I do best is whatever comes to your mind, put down on the paper, right? And we learn all these techniques in Toastmasters also when we are trying to figure out which speech we want to give. We list down the ideas and then we prioritize. Is this something which we really want to share or not? So I write it down and then I prioritize. Okay, this is something which I can do first. This is something which I can maybe do later. And this is something which will be possible later. I prioritize it in these 3 categories and then discuss with the team. And if something is possible, we go ahead and do it. Sometimes what happens when you have decided something, say this is of some thing which can be easily done, but that doesn't happen. At that time is when you get that stress as to how will you be able to do, because this was such a simple thing, but you could not do it, and the team was not able to do. What are your next steps? That is the time when you get stress. And I believe one should keep in mind that this is a large event. There are things which will go wrong, but whatever is in your hand, focus on them. What's in the And at this time, right, discussing with Libby helps out. Sometimes even while I've thought like this is in my hand, I will be able to take care of it. This is not in my hand. I put forward with Libby and it's like, okay, this is resolved. Then she will be like, if this is if something we can do, let's focus. If not, then let's keep it aside. We'll come back to it later. So that way you need someone to talk to, someone to coordinate with, someone where you can freely express your thoughts without the barrier that no, because they are also 50% accountable for that event, right? So it becomes very easy. So what I would suggest, if you're planning such a huge event and if it gives you stress or if it gives you worry, best is to have someone who would be like a co-convener or a co-chair, we say, right? Someone who can be there to discuss and ease out. Because we always say we need a team to delegate. That is good, but we need someone who will be working in a similar capacity as us so that when we get stressed, they help us out. When they get stressed, we help them out like that. Because it's human tendency, right? We see when we see someone else in stress, we try to relieve them. But it is if we are ourselves in stress, we won't try to relieve ourselves. But
Yeah,
if it
so
is someone else, it becomes easier.
Basically, we need
So
somebody to vent
find
out with.
yeah,
If
so
I have
you
the
yes,
pressure, I need somebody to. I'll go and Akshay, this happened. He said this, she said this. ऐसे नहीं होता है, वैसे नहीं होता है. Then Akshay will be like, Libby, calm down. And that helps.
so the way this organization is set up as their convener and co-convener, and the is very wise and very interesting. As in, I wouldn't have been able to do the even half the stuff I did without Nishant, and I'm sure he would say the same, that he wouldn't have been able to handle without me, and of course with our entire team. So I think communicating, discussing, venting out, and most important, have fun also. So I hope you guys are having some fun with this entire event. Are you enjoying the experience, Libby?
I am very much. I'm enjoying it and dreading it and excited. And I've like 20 emotions running at me at the same time.
So there's going to be a lot of growth, I think, at the end of this journey for both of you, and it's going to be fabulous because we can, Nishant and I can testify that it's going to be it is an amazing experience which our memories are in our heart forever. Even today, Nishant and I will remember those days where we organized such a huge event. And I remember that one time that we stood on stage and we got a standing ovation from the audience for organizing the event when we were given our token of appreciation, and that moment was so is full of pride. You remember that, Nishant, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So we are coming close to our end of our this thing. So before I do the summarization, I hope I can do justice to Joanne's great summarization, but I'll try my best. But before we close, Nishant, your final thoughts and messages for not only for Libby and Akshay, but for generally for everybody, specifically related to handling large events and specifically to Eloquence.
So one thing is very important in any large event. If you remember when you go for a wedding also, what is the first important thing in a wedding? खाना अच्छा होना चाहिए. And trust me, if your food is good, trust me, people are going to remember you for the life. Obviously, the event is going to be successful with the type of the organization we are working into. Toastmaster, we start on time, we end on time, the schedule, the agenda, everything is sorted. खाना अच्छा होना चाहिए, and I'm sure Rohan will resonate with that because after 2 or 3 years also people were asking our menu card what exactly you did in your food, and they still remember the food, veg and non-veg both. And I'm a non-vegetarian and Ron was a non-vegetarian, so we actually did a lot of testing of the food also. But nevertheless, we need to take care of the team and work together in sync with the team, same vision, and make sure the event is successful. And I'm sure it will be. And the best part is the standing ovation. I resonate with Ron when we got a standing ovation in the trophy. It was something we still remember, and whenever the Facebook gives us a memory, we still post it on our Facebook, a memory recollection, right, Ron? If
Yeah,
you remember.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
very precious memories and
precious memory.
precious days. Those 3 days were fantastic for us. Of
I
course, the
still have the
6 months
trophy
of
there.
work also there. Yeah.
I still have the trophy in my office right now.
Yeah,
Eloquence one.
I also have that
Yeah,
with me in my.
yeah.
So let's start wrapping up. Libby, tell us what we have in store for Eloquence. Anything, any last messages, anything to everybody that you want to convey, and any ideas you want to share, anything you want to share right now before we summarize and wrap up. Same for Akshay also, but let Libby go first.
So all I want to say is for those of you who have not registered, please go ahead and register. You don't know what you will be missing out. And I'm not saying this because I am the convener of the event. I'm saying this from my experience as an attendee last year. It has been one of the most fabulous experiences of my life. And I would have really regretted it if I hadn't gone to Ahmedabad last year. So this is to each one of you. You should come, you should attend one district conference at least in your lifetime as a Toastmasters. And once you attend one conference, I'm sure you will look forward to attending the uh, future conferences as well. That is the only thing I have got to say. come, attend, and remember to have fun always.
Akshay, any last comments? Any last thoughts?
Yeah, so I would say, as Libby has already mentioned about the registration, I'll speak about what you are going to find over there. So we are planning our best to give you the grandest experience. And there are multiple reasons to join us. One such reason is, say, 100 year celebration. Second reason can be your club member might be part of the team. If you are not yet part of the team, you can still reach out to Libby and me, and we can see which committee you want to join and you can take part. So there are still opportunities to volunteer. So you can still connect with Libby and me. Third thing is, in case if you are, say, not part of any team or you are not keen on the celebration of 100 years, you can still join in with your friends, because these memories which you will create, right? As Nishant was mentioning, every time when the memory comes up, it brings a smile. It's a flood of emotions. So if you want to experience that flood of emotions, do attend, because I still have my pictures which I had clicked in 2019. They are still a very important part of my Toastmasters journey. I consider them as a milestone which I crossed, and my perspective changed, because I realized at 2019 conference that a Toastmaster is someone who is not just 18 years or who's not just someone 60 years. He or she is someone who has the energy of a Toastmaster who continues for long. They have the same energy, whether they are 18 or whether they are 60. Someone might be achieving things in the 18, but you don't worry, because the conference makes you strengthen that belief that if you feel that you have started late, you will soon be able to achieve whatever you desire. So definitely attend the conference, because for this belief to become stronger, you need to come to Eloquence and experience it along with all of us. So do register, do join us. Hoping to see you all at Silvassa. Over to you, Ron.
Thank you so much, Akshay. So,
Ron, I
yeah,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
tell you, I got an inquiry also. Somebody said they are new. A member said they are new and they wanted to come for Eloquence. So I just wanted to let you know that Joe and Ro has helped us probably get one more registration.
Wow, that's unexpected. But I'm very happy, and I'm sure as people listen to this and they spread the word around, and we'll get a lot of registrations. I think it's going to be a fantastic event with you guys at the helm of it, and with the fantastic team we have backing, and all the wisdom and this of people like Nishant and Brilliant backing you. I think it'll be a fantastic event. Of course, our trio is always there with a lot of help. They've always been at our back to accomplish everything. So now it comes to um, the summarization, and I'm stepping into very large shoes right now. So please bear with me. The people who are familiar with Joanne Rowe will know about Joanne's fantastic summarization, but mine will be very short and very sweet and very whatever. So please do bear with me.
We understand.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Libby, for that vote of no confidence. Okay, just okay. So we started off the discussion is why are events like Eloquence important? So a lot of ideas came across, and one of the most important thing is you get to meet people that you don't get exposed to in the clubs. You usually meet people and interact with people outside your clubs, out of your in district. Like Nishant said, we had people coming from abroad also. We met with a lot of people from Toastmasters International, that we got a lot of exposure. We could speak to new people. Some of my fondest memories are actually having interaction with people who had never met in the district before. So that's one very big important part of attending a conference. And this is also reason why conferences are held by the district in the first place, that just get the whole community together and meet new people. Akshay also brought out a very interesting point. Why would you volunteer in one of these events? Is because the amount of learning that you get, you work with people, you learn new things. Libby had also mentioned that she is learning from her team members also, who are part of different areas in the group. So and it's a great amount of fun and learning. Doing I remember Akshay talking about walkie talkies, and I remember my experience with walkie talkies also. It was the first time I had also used walkie talkie. It was so much fun to do all that hijinks with it on in the conference. So you get such innovative and interesting experiences when you volunteer in your conference. And of course, you get to work with amazing people like Libby and Akshay, learn from them as well. Akshay also pointed out a very interesting part is you get to experiment when you are in a conference. So there are a lot of what do you call it, opportunities to show your creativity in a conference. So if whatever role you are, whether you're doing FNB or you're handling registrations, you will get an opportunity to experiment and learn and contribute in a very unique way. So there are a lot of stories, and I also remember a lot of people in our group went and did a lot of things which were not expected, and it improved overall, improved the experience of the guests, improved the overall experience of Eloquence. And without those singular contributions, the experience would have not been as good. Of course, uh, one thing which we discussed is about the team working together as a team, sharing the responsibilities, interacting. Libby made a very interesting point about Toastmasters, which everybody must have experienced at some point, is that no matter what you want, somebody is always there to support you. Somebody is always there to interact with you. You are just asked for help, and help is always available. Whether it's right from the district director who's always there to support, or down to a common member steps up and says, "Okay, I will help you do it." So whether it's any conference, anything from area to district, there are always people with the right spirit in Toastmasters who will step forward to help you. So in future also, if you're thinking of taking up a role as one of the conveners of any type of conference, rest assured there will be backup, there will be people helping you. We have a community of help people who are willing to help. Um, Also, one thing which we learned about is as a leader, you grow when you are organizing a conference. Libby made a very interesting point about not micromanaging. So not micromanaging. You learn not to micromanage. You learn to let go control. You learn to trust people. Learn to trust your team to deliver, and you are always surprised by how well they deliver for you when you let them, give them their freedom and trust them to do the job. So that as a leader, you will grow in terms of leading a large team and trusting the team to deliver the results. So very big learning opportunity for people to take in this. Of course, when I asked Akshay about dealing with stress, dealing with all the pressure that comes in the conference, Akshay, of course, is a very cerebral person, very analytical person. So he's like, we will create a list and we will prioritize and we will focus on tasks and we will make sure everything is done. And if we can't do it, we'll come back and revisit it. So he has a very analytical and very thoughtful approach to handling pressure in this. But of course, Libby is more, she says, like, you need to vent. Sometimes the pressure becomes good. You talk to your friends, you talk to your fellow Toastmasters, you vent, and they support you and they guide you, and you come back rejuvenated and tackle the challenges again fresh. So the interaction between the convener, the team is very, very important. The chemistry between them is very, very important. Like Nishant has also pointed out, chemistry between us when we never ever fought during that entire 6 months of very high pressure is because of chemistry and because the event became successful because of that. And always trust and discuss things with your team. Overall, I think thank you very much, Libby and Akshay and Nishant, for joining us for this podcast. We are right bang on time and we'll repeat. I want to really thank you from on behalf of the entire district, Libby and Akshay, for taking on this responsibility. And you have, unlike me and Nishant, who got accidentally pulled into it, at least Nishant was voluntary. I got pulled into it, but you guys have taken on this responsibility full-heartedly, and so far you've done a fantastic job so far. And we are all very grateful and definitely looking forward to Eloquence. I am sure it's going to be a fantastic event where we're going to make a lot of memories. Thank you very much for joining us on Joe and Ro podcast. On behalf of my co-host Joanne, I want to thank you for being part of it. Thank you very much, guys, for being part of this podcast again. And thank you very much. And we'll call it a day now. When I can find the stop recording button. Thank you, guys, and stay back for the session, the informal networking session.